started with, Chelsea, Clinton, Hadil, Mo Ibrahim, and my daughter Halima. My daughter Halima joined them later, and we realized that, look, we need to set up this Africa Center. We need to make it a reality. First of all, for us to be able to project Africa in a better light, bringing Africa to the rest of the world. Especially when you look at, the third week of every September, we have the United Nations General Assembly, where the entire world converges in New York. And what we want to do is to tell the real narrative of Africa and tell the rest of the world what Africa is all about. So this is now to do with policy, business, and culture. Because sometimes, especially, Americans, they don't really understand much about Africa. Somebody will say, okay, well, both you Africans, what kind of language do you speak? For example, in Africa, we speak about 2,000 different languages.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So right now, one of the big problems in Africa is health, and you've been very involved in trying to eradicate polio in Nigeria, along with Bill Gates and his foundation. What is the progress that you've made to date?
I think we've done quite a lot. The progress has been very, very tremendous. In the last 3 years, we haven't really had any wild, virus of polio. And hopefully, when we work hard between now and the next 6 months, by April, we'll be certified to be polio-free country, which means the entire African continent will be polio-free.
Now, one of the things you're doing in the philanthropic world is building a hospital in Nigeria. Why do you feel a need to build a new hospital?
I think we need to build a world-class hospital, because when you look at it in Nigeria, we spend quite a lot of money, where a lot of people go abroad for medical checkup, for medical operation. Then what we are trying to do is to give that hope to the population and say that, look, you don't need to travel abroad. We will be able to treat you there.
Now, for those who may not be familiar with Africa, Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, is that right?
It is.
And it's growing at a very large rate in terms of its population, is that?
Yeah, about 3%. Yeah, we're growing at about 3%.
So if at the current rate, at some point, more people will be in Nigeria than in the United States.
Well, by 2050, we'll be at about 450 million population, and I'm sure we will be way ahead of the States. We'll be about number 3 after China, India, and then it will be Nigeria in terms of population.
So by 2050, you could be the 3rd biggest country in the world by population at the current population growth rate. So does that make you nervous about whether Nigeria can house and feed all these people?
It doesn't really make me nervous, because we have massive arable land, we have a lot of water, we have the right climate. So when you look at it, the major contributor to our GDP in Nigeria is agriculture. So I think we just need to tilt a bit and change from the normal oil, reliant economy to agriculture and manufacturing.
So Nigeria is known as well for having large oil deposits. Is that a major contributor to the Nigerian economy? Is that the major source of wealth in Nigeria?
It's not the major source, but it contributes 90% of the foreign exchange that we have, and we also the 60% of the government's revenue is also coming from oil. But I think the government is doing quite a lot to try and diversify the economy by trying to structure their own taxes, because we need to make more money from the taxes. The taxes, generation in Nigeria is a bit low. So I think government is working very hard to make sure that, yes, they adjust all these numbers.
Now, as the wealthiest man in Africa and the wealthiest man in Nigeria, do you get pressure to run for political office yourself? Would you like to be president of Nigeria?
I think I'm doing a great job where I'm right now, so I don't think I need to be in a political space. Some of us, we need to lead in terms of the trajectory of developing Africa through the business, not through the political leadership.
Let's talk about how you made this amount of money, which is by far the largest amount of money that any individual has in Africa. So you came from a wealthy family or not a wealthy family?
I came from a wealthy family. My late great-grandfather in the 1940s was actually the richest, West African. My late grandfather was one of the wealthiest Nigerian. The family name is Dantata. That's from my maternal side. My father too, was fairly rich, but he was both, in business and also in politics. But David, one thing that I'm very, very proud of is that I did not inherit any money from my father. I built everything from scratch to where I am.
But your father died when you were relatively young.
Yeah, he died when I was 8 years old.
So he didn't leave in his will a large amount of money for you?
Well, he left in the will, but, whatever that I inherited from him, which means in assets, I gave that one to charity since then.
Okay. So did you go to college in Nigeria?
No, I went in Egypt.
Egypt, all right. And what did you study?
Business.
All right, so you graduated at what age?
I graduated at about 20 years old.
All right, so you went back from Egypt to Nigeria?
Yes, I went back. And then
what, did you get a job? What did you do?
I started work with my, uncle, but there's a few months, and then I went to Lagos, and now I started my own business by just, buying cement, selling. It was just a very low-key business.
Right, so you're 20, 21 years old, you're buying cement, you're a trader. I
was trading, yes.
You're not making cement, you're trading it.
I was trading at that time.
Now, cement is your main business. We'll talk about it in a moment, but why is cement such a big part of Africa's, wealth?
Well, the issue is that when you look at cement, cement is what builds infrastructure. And we need a lot of infrastructural deficit. In Nigeria alone, we have about 17,000 deficit of housing. And it is all over in, Africa. So when we started cement in Nigeria, we realized that majority of it was actually imported. And that is why we went in there, we started, and it's a long story.
So you ultimately were trading cement, and then was it hard to get the money to keep that business going?
No, it wasn't really hard. At that time, I was buying domestically. We started importation in 1980 because I started business in 78. So by 1980, we started importing sugar, rice, commodities generally. And then we stopped the cement business because the cement I was actually doing local trading. It wasn't really import business. We started import of cement in 2000.
Okay, so you had a cement trading business. Somebody thought Lafarge may be buying it. You decided not to sell because they wanted control. And you then decided to build your own cement manufacturing business, is that right?
Yes, I decided in 2003 to build my own cement. That time, Nigeria was only producing about 1.8, 1.9 million tons. But we went ahead and started with the 5 million tons of cement capacity. So
what year was that?
This was 2000, and we started the building end of 2003, and we finished in 2007.
And so now you're the largest cement manufacturer in Nigeria?
We're the largest cement manufacturer in...
Other things, so you're building a refinery in Nigeria. Why does Nigeria need another refinery?
Well, David, let me give you a little bit of history. What we do as DANGOTE Group, we use our businesses, like now we're using our current businesses to build the future of the business. Like when we're in sugar, it was the sugar profit that we used in building the cement. Now with this cement, we're building so many things, with refinery, fertilizer, petroleum products, and then we're doing also petrochemicals. With the refinery, your question is, okay, why are we building a refinery? When you look at the entire sub-Saharan Africa, we have only 2 working refineries. One, it is in Cote d'Ivoire, which has only 75,000 barrels a day. The other one is by Sasol in South Africa. But majority of all these countries, almost all the sub-Saharan African countries, they don't have refining capacity. So all of them, they export their oil, but they import products. So we realize that majority of the foreign exchange spendings of Nigeria goes to petroleum products.